Don't you hate pants?
If you want it, don't just think you want it. Go out and fucking want it.
For the puck, Paula's going to get there. He's in. He scores! Eric Paula has tied the game for Minnesota. There's Parisi. Back up top. Parisi fires, scores! An opening night hat trick for Zach Parisi. Poked away by Palmerville. Palmerville and Niederreiter, 2-on-1. Niederreiter scores! Oposo's in alone. Oposo, saved by Dubnik.
Let's go crazy. Let's get nuts. Look for the purple banana till they put us in trouble.
Welcome to Giles and the Goalies podcast, episode 71. This is our sequel to last year's episode, Giant Room Full of Porn.
I forgot about that.
We are literally within smelling distance of the kitchen here at Tom Reids.
It smells good.
Because it is basically named this week because we're here for the Hockey Jersey Collectors Expo. So that's why we're name dropping where we're actually at this week.
And we're still not getting paid, though. But, whatever.
Who knows? Maybe this will lead somewhere. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, so it's always a good time here. I took a photograph with a gentleman who was in town for this, weirdly enough. So he's just trying to take photos of all the different jerseys that are here. So he was admiring my Ovechkin Capitals jersey. Ben not wearing a jersey.
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh, we should probably introduce ourselves.
No.
There's Ben.
Hello.
I'm Giles. Who did survive the night last night. Amazingly. I didn't die at my own birthday party.
Did you make it to bar clothes like you wanted?
I did.
You did?
It's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't buy you enough alcohol.
Mixed in some waters this year.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when you snuck the one in when you got there right away. That was probably a good plan on your part.
Yeah. Sneak my way around the party and then sneak in a water. Anyway, we're going to cut right to it. So, hockey's back.
Hey!
The Wild played real hockey games this week.
That counted and everything.
Thursday night, the season opener in St. Louis was a less than desirable result. A 3-2 defeat at the hands of the St. Louis Blues. Not an overly great effort, but yet they still, it was still very close. The game was there if they wanted it.
Right. Yeah, it was, I'd say they played pretty sloppy. And some people said they looked like they were tentative in some situations. And I think they were, especially it seemed like those were the mistakes that were made on the goals that they allowed. Were maybe, I don't want to say systematic mistakes, but they might have been mistakes where guys were less than exactly sure where to be and less than exactly sure what their roles and responsibilities were. So this is kind of what we expected. There's going to be some growing pains with a new coach and a new system and a lot of a lot of the same players have been playing under the same system for the last 4 years, and now you've mixed in just enough new players where you've got one per line, and you've got a new coach and a new system. So sloppy play, tentative play, didn't look great, but yeah, like you said, at the end of the day, I mean, they only lost by 1 goal to a team that was in the Western Conference Finals last year. I really wasn't super upset about it. You certainly want to see him play better, but I don't think it was an abomination or any kind of indictment on the talent level of the team.
No, Thursday night I think was just I don't know, kind of an aberration, and I think it took him a period Saturday night against the Jets to get it going, and actually. I don't even think I'd say a period. It was just a bad 90 seconds to end the period.
Yeah.
So, I guess we can discuss Saturday night. The Wild open the home schedule against the Jets. And, of course, you've got quite a few Jerts fans on hand at the XL Center. Bad 90 seconds to end the first period. Wild down 2-0. And then they, I'm guessing they got one of those Bruce Boudreau inspirational speeches at the first intermission.
That's what everyone's saying.
And then they came out and they scored 4 straight.
Yeah.
And they ended up winning 4-3. A much better looking team there in the last 2 periods.
Yeah, it really seemed like it. I missed the first period. I was out to dinner, and then we watched most of the second, or all of the second and most of the third. And it seemed like, in the second period, I mean, they really, really pushed the pace of play. They really were all over the Jets. I mean, the Jets didn't really mount anything in the second period whatsoever. So, I mean, that's good. That's exactly what we want to see, and that's exactly what we expect out of this team. And who knows what choice words were used in that first intermission, but there was a lot of reports and that they were, and I don't think he even needed that to be reported because he kind of assumed that it happened because, from all indications, the first period wasn't going so hot. So, good bounce back. Good to get that emotion on home ice. You had Chris Stewart with the Gordie Howe hat trick, and it certainly seemed to be part of firing that team up and firing the crowd up after a pretty lousy finish to the first.
God, it just bless the Jets for continuing to employ Chris Thorburn after all these years. They've got a good young roster, and they still have space for Chris Thorburn. Warms my heart.
Yeah, I'm certainly not going to tell him to stop.
No, that's like, I don't know, what's a good equivalent?
Anything the Avalanche
It's like telling the Avs to continue to employ Cody McLeod.
Right.
Alternate captain, Cody McLeod.
The bar's set pretty low with their actual captain, so.
So, the Wild come out of the first weekend, extended weekend, whatever. 1-1. Not terrible, I guess.
I'm not upset about it. Right?
I guess now, I don't know. Any thoughts on this week? Because it seems like it's a little early to be getting any concrete thoughts.
Oh God, no. And they play LA on Tuesday. That's gonna be an interesting game. LA's a pretty good team without Jonathan Quick. Yeah, which who knows what that means. And then they kind of have a little bit of a softer schedule when they play Toronto. They play against Toronto and New Jersey. So those are 2 teams that you certainly expect to beat bottom feeders as they are. So I don't know. It sets up for an interesting week. They've got a good test against LA, and then 2 teams they should beat in Toronto and New Jersey. But it's really, those are tests too, because they're teams that you should beat. So if you don't beat them, you don't pass the test. So that's the interesting wrinkle to this week, but I think we should have a little better feel as to more of the personality of this team. It's 2 games. It's really hard to make anything out of that one way or another, and anybody who is obviously working on a very small sample size. So,
and then closing out the week, they have New Jersey and the Islanders. And
yep.
I love Sunday games. I don't. I lost my train of thought. I'm having a rough day here.
Yeah. Giles has got birthday overhang going right now, so.
Actually, I'm not doing all that bad. I just formulating thoughts right now, or I kind of want to just shut my brain off.
I did notice this is the first time that I think almost the first time you've had a non-alcoholic beverage during our podcast in quite some time, if not ever.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I tried my best to drink all the alcohol last night. So. Yeah, I think this week we can kind of maybe get a better sense for this team and see who's trending in the right direction, wrong direction.
Yeah.
I don't know, just kind of a few quick hitter thoughts, but nothing to really, take home. I thought Jason Zucker had a good opening 2 games, even though he didn't hit the score sheet. I don't think. Yeah, I know he didn't have a goal. I don't know if he had any assists.
Did he assist on? He assisted on Coyle's goal.
Yeah, that's right.
So yes,
he had a good first couple games. I really like having him on the penalty kill again.
Yeah,
I think that's somewhere he should probably be.
Yeah, that's
consistently.
Yeah,
but and then I threw it out there before Thursday's game that Devin Dubnyk is statistically not good in October.
Yeah.
And then he followed that up by letting Nail Yakupov fire one right through his glove on Thursday night. So don't go nuts if he gets off to a slow start again, because we've seen throughout his career he will pick it up as the year goes on.
Yeah, and I think it ties into a question that we got later, but I think that's somewhat common for goalies. I feel like, certainly for me, and I'm certainly not anything to base any kind of judgments off of, but I was absolutely horrendous to start the season every season when I played hockey. Growing up, those were the most forgettable games I played were easily the first couple, and it takes, I think, you always hear about hitters being ahead of pitchers in spring training or pitchers being ahead of hitters. Nobody can really figure out which way it goes in baseball, but I think definitely skaters are ahead of goalies for the most part early on, and goalies tend to be the type to warm up and get hot for periods of time, and I think it is a little rare to have a goalie that's just hot right off the bat. So now that you're getting into games that mean something, guys maybe will start heating up and maybe you'll see some hot streaks out of some goalies, but certainly not super surprising to see Dubnyk not on his absolute A-plus game right now. And some of those goals, too, were goals that there was defensive lapses as well. So he can't bail you out on everything, especially when he's not playing at the tippy top of his game. So, like you tweeted out, nothing too shocking there.
And I didn't really notice this during Thursday night's game, but I was also here deep in some Molson.
Molson's, yeah.
But I noticed this last night. The Wild did a really good job of kind of clogging up the neutral zone. And I don't know, maybe I haven't noticed that previously, but they seem, when they can do that, it's a lot better. They're a lot better.
And I could be wrong, and I haven't certainly looked at any stats, but it felt like that it was a little bit. They broke out a little bit easier too. It seemed like there was a lot more back and forth than you saw, last season or under Mike Yeo, or however you want to call it. It seemed like under Mike Yeo, they seemed very comfortable playing half ice hockey a lot. Especially when they were in their defensive end, it seemed like it was pulling teeth to get that team to get out of their own zone sometimes. And now, you certainly saw that a handful of times, but for the most part, it seemed like breaking out was a little bit more fluid. Maybe teams giving them a little bit more respect and allowing them to, assuming they are going to break out a little bit more. So it seemed like the ice was stretched a little bit. Obviously, 2 games, so who knows? But that's something to keep an eye on. It seems like a little bit more. We expected a little bit more pace of play, and that seems like what we're getting so far.
Yeah, it seems like Thursday night's game was just maybe opening night jitters. I could be wrong, but it just seemed like gripping the sticks a little tighter.
Yeah.
Passes just kind of floating off sticks. A lot of passes and skates.
Yeah, no, it was sloppy. It was very sloppy.
I don't know. I didn't take a lot out of that one game, so I don't know. Not jumping off the cliff.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any other thoughts? I guess because it's.
I said it before the season, but so far so good on Eric Stahl. It seemed like that's a good fit, and also, it seemed like Boudreau is not afraid to ride that opening line. He shifted some. We saw a lot of changes towards the end of that Thursday night game.
He just shuffled
line combinations, just to kind of get anything going. But then he went right back to the original lines on Saturday. So looks like Boudreau is going to give a little bit of patience. I think he's a believer in the lines that he put together. Surprisingly, even not matching up Polkinen with the other Finns, which we thought was going to happen for sure. But it's fine that it's not. I mean, you don't want to rush those kind of things. It seems like Polkinen's played well enough so far. I know he was a part of Suter's goal on Thursday night, forcing a turnover. So, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. There's still way too much hockey to be played to really say anything concrete. But, so far so good. Thursday night, obviously a sloppy game, but they were still in it, considering they played a sloppy game. So you got to be somewhat content with that.
I didn't check the stats after Saturday night's game, but Thursday night, the fourth line was just dominant from a puck possession standpoint. Like, I think Polkinen and Zucker and Dalpe were in the 70% for Corsi, and
really?
Polkinen was in the high 50s.
Wow.
Which was incredible. I would not have guessed that.
I would not have guessed that either.
And I liked how they played again last night, so maybe that's why he didn't shuffle the lines.
Could be.
He probably won't shuffle the lines moving forward, but I don't know. I haven't been disappointed with Dalpe as a fourth-line center while they wait for Yul Eriksson to get his immigration papers together up in Canada.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing.
Yeah, why is he getting immigration papers in Canada so he can play hockey in the U.S.? Whatever. I'm sure it's an NHL bit, but I don't know. I haven't. It seemed like they had the puck in the wild zone a lot during the fourth line stretches on Thursday night. But to your point, I don't know if they did allow a ton of shots. So maybe it wasn't as bad as it seemed. Maybe they just were kind of on a bend don't break kind of thing. I think the biggest takeaway from Thursday night that was negative was Mike Riley looked kind of lost, kind of brutal, and then he obviously didn't end up playing on Saturday night. So, but I think you're going to get that with him too. I mean, as the type of player that he is and how young he is, I'm not surprised and I'm not shocked or alarmed. I think that's fine. I think you bring him along slowly. You rotate him and Foley around. I think that's probably a smart way to go. And just hope to God that Prosser doesn't see the ice. And I think that's fine. I think you're going to get games like that out of him. Certainly the rest of the team wasn't playing at the highest level either, so I'm fine with it. I'm fine with Mike Riley having some growing pains every now and then, and hopefully he can get more comfortable as the season goes along.
If Riley doesn't get into a game at some point this week, then I'd be better off just sending him to Iowa.
Yeah.
To get ice time, and I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
Anyway, I guess we have some Q&A we can hit on.
Sure.
I should probably look that up.
Yeah, my phone's in use right now.
We're not as prepared this week.
No. I did do some preparation, so for the Q&A,
you're showing me up.
Yeah, I worked this morning, so I had nothing better to do. Yeah, a couple of decent questions this morning. A couple of questions that were like, what?
All right, so we've got some questions here.
Sure.
First one from Aaron Berger. Hot take on salads.
So,
my first thought is from the Simpsons episode where they go, "You don't make friends with salad. You don't make friends with salad."
So I kind of chewed on this one a little bit. I thought about it. I think we're just going to go broad brush, and I'm going to fire through a couple of varieties of salad. And if you want to give, I don't know, do you want to go thumb up or thumb down or pass, fail, or good, bad? Let's just get your thoughts here. So arugula salad.
I've never heard of that until now.
Okay, this might be a little too foodie for you then.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go thumbs down. I'm not a fan of spinach. Spinach salad. You fan of?
Sorry,
spinach?
I'm not with Popeye on spinach, so pass.
All right. I think it can be done well. Caesar salad. Where are you at on that?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Wedge salads. Are you familiar?
Not really.
No, it's just
I don't know.
it's more lazy than anything. They just kind of chop a whole head of lettuce into like a quarter, and that's how they serve you a salad.
Huh.
I mean, there's more to it than that.
Pretty lazy.
But for the most part, it is just kind of lazy.
That's the Tom Vanek of salad.
How do you feel about steak salads?
Never had one.
Oh. Well, geez, this is really going absolutely nowhere. I thought that
you might be shocked to know my past isn't laced with a lot of salads.
All right, we'll start getting into some salads you might be more familiar with now. How are your feelings on pasta salad?
I like it.
Okay, that's good. Potato salad?
Yes.
Yes?
I love a good potato salad.
Really? In all situations?
Yes.
I think I've heard there's like a Bloods and Crips type battle over German potato salad versus, I don't know, regular potato. I'd never knew the difference.
Yeah,
so I'm not down with that. Fruit salads? How do you feel about fruit salads?
I'm okay on fruit salads.
Yeah.
It's not high up there, but I'll have it if it's there.
Yeah, I suppose. Taco salads.
Yes.
Yes, I think that's pretty ubiquitous. And what are your feelings on salad dressing? You a ranch guy? Or?
Yeah, I'd probably be a ranch. I don't veer too far from that. Yeah.
I can go a lot of different ways with it. I can party with virtually any kind of salad dressing. Most of the time I go with ranch, but I like it when you go to restaurants and they have something like kind of new and exciting where some kind of fancy vinaigrette or something that pairs well. I'll party with that every once in a while. So those are our salad hot takes. Sorry, it's not quite as heated as our soup and or coleslaw debates.
I'm looking forward to your post this week on what Wild players are salads.
Oh, that's a good one.
Zach Parisi is potato salad or something like that.
Zach Parisi is a nice quinoa salad. I don't even know what that means, but we'll go with that.
Yeah, you can find that at Wild Extra this week.
Don't hold your breath.
Along the rest with our riveting content.
Yes.
All right, so I love our loyal listeners who don't even bother to ask us about hockey anymore. They got to get our hot food takes.
Yeah, it seems like we should almost do a food podcast, but that just, I don't know.
I think we're establishing a brand of food takes, food podcast. This will be the food podcast now. Great. All right, from Doubles is Chuck Fletcher on the hot seat if the Wild get off to a bad start.
Well, we did address this last week in our season preview podcast where I don't think he's anywhere remotely close to a hot seat. I know there's a lot, well, not a lot, but there is a decent contingent of people that would love nothing more for him to be on the hot seat, but I think until you see this team in danger of not making the playoffs, I think he's super safe. We've seen, and that's not even my opinion on him. That's not even a reflection of Chuck Fletcher in my eyes. That's just, we know that Craig Leopold is loyal to the nth degree, and this team is, supposed to be a playoff team. So, if they struggle a little bit, I think that there's going to be a lot of patience there. But if they don't make the playoffs, I think it's very fair that he's on a pretty hot seat at that point. I don't know that he's, run out of town the instant they miss the playoffs, but I think that if they make the playoffs, it's a distinct possibility. Until then, I don't think he's sweating whatsoever.
Yeah, we got a ways to go before we talk about hot seat and
right.
And I think if they miss the playoffs, then maybe. but I wouldn't see anything happening during the season still.
No, I mean, even if you see the trademark Mike Yeo midseason swoon out of this team, I think this team is still going to play it up as positive. Like, hey, we've done it before. We've overcome, these odds before. I think they're still going to, ride that kind of, that train of thought where it's like, well, this is no big deal if we're, in sixth place in the division in January. I just don't see it at all. If this team hadn't made the playoffs at any point in the last 4 years, yeah, you can certainly argue for him being on the hot seat, but this has been a playoff team for the last 4 years straight. How many teams in the NHL can claim that?
Not many.
And you can say what you want about the results. I mean, the results haven't been great, obviously, but Craig Leopold likes making the playoffs because it makes Craig Leopold a lot of money. Yeah. So
he gets a lot of bank from those playoff dates.
So I really don't think, I'm sure he would like to do better, and that was a big part of obviously hiring Bruce Boudreau and that sort of thing. But it's still a playoff team for 4 years running. I don't think they're going to make a lot of changes.
There's only like 6 or 7 teams who can also stake that claim.
Right, and then, I don't know, the argument I always come across with Fletcher is like, okay, well, you can fire him if this team is not doing well after a month, but then what do you do? Then what's your course of action? Is Brent Flair the GM going forward? And is that any better for this team for the rest of the season? I don't know that it is. It's the same regime. It's like we saw with the Twins. Yeah, they fired Terry Ryan, but how did that turn out for the whole rest of the season? It didn't change a thing. And now, yes, they have a better guy in place, we feel like, but that's why I feel like any change that would be made after the season, after they miss the playoffs.
I really wish they got Alex Anthopoulos.
Alex
Anthopoulos.
Oh,
there you go, Dan.
I should make a drop out of that somehow, some way.
Yeah, you should just make Dan singing that, the drop.
I could probably do that. I think I could do that. We'll see. To be continued.
On to the next question from Josh O. After 2 games, what are the good and bad things you are seeing, and how does the team compare to last year?
Well, we covered.
Yeah, we kind of hit on the good and the bad earlier.
Compared to last year, I don't know. It's a similar team. Like I said, you like the addition of Eric Stahl. I think that, as I wrote about last week, I think that this team's center position is finally not a weak point. I'm certainly not going to call it a strong point because we don't have a Jonathan Taves, we don't have a Sidney Crosby, we don't have a Connor McDavid, or apparently even Austin Matthews. But I think that this team is at least able to tread water at center now, whereas before the season, I mean, let's face it, the center position was kind of an all-out dumpster fire. So you have to like at least the stability they have in the middle. They have 3, centers on their top 3 lines that you kind of are kind of locked in for more or less. So you're not going to see Charlie Coyle bouncing back and forth. You're not going to see Mikael Granlund bouncing back and forth. There's stability there, and I think that's the difference, and that's something that I really like. Other than that, I think this team compares to last season's team, a little favorably, but ultimately more of the same. And you just kind of hope they don't hit that January swoon.
And last year, this team got off to a good start.
Yeah.
But as we kind of brought it up seemingly every week on the podcast, something was just amiss with that team.
Sure.
And then eventually we saw it. The bottom fell out. They took a nosedive, and then Mike Yeo was inevitably fired.
Yeah, and I don't know that we even knew what was missing with that team. Maybe it was that stability, and maybe it was Mike Yeo's message not being listened to. I don't know, but I think this year there's a lot more stability. I think there's less questions about Bruce Boudreau this season than there was Mike Yeo last season, even though Yeo had been around for 4 years. And I think there's slightly less questions about the roster this season than last season because of the addition of Eric Stahl and perhaps Chris Stewart. You've probably got a better 3.5 to 4 lines versus last year. It was maybe closer to 2.5 to 3 lines that you could really feel good about trotting out there. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Two games. You really you shouldn't be saying anything with any kind of definitive thoughts. But
yeah, like we said, it's very early to make really any comprehensive thoughts on anything right now.
Sure.
So,
Yep. Exactly.
small sample. So take
Everything with a grain of salt. Yeah.
today.
Everything. Everything.
All right, from Aaron Berger again. No teams have been shut out yet. Are you surprised?
Well, Vancouver narrowly missed it, but they missed it in glorious fashion by scoring an own goal. So
good on you, Louis Erickson.
Poor Ryan Miller saved every shot that came his way, but still does not get a shutout because Louis Erickson scored an own goal. So that's kind of a funny side note. But again, it's such teeny tiny sample sizes. I don't think it means anything. Goaltending, from every indication, has been getting better and better as seasons have wore along. And even with the new, faster NHL, I think that it's just,
there'll be one this week.
Yeah, there'll be one. It'll happen. I mean, most teams have only played 2 games, maybe 3 tops. It's kind of like when no-hitters don't happen in baseball for a long time. People are kind of like, what does it mean? And then 3 happen in the next, 2 weeks, and it's like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So I don't draw any concrete conclusions from it. I don't know. I guess you could say the NHL is more skilled now. The influx of players in the last couple of drafts, Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, guys like that, I think maybe you could make the argument that the game is getting more skilled and scoring should increase, but that we certainly haven't, there's no evidence to that, and you're certainly not going to get any evidence to that in the first 2 games of the season.
Well, they also keep shrinking the goalie pads.
Yeah, I don't think that's an immediate consequence. I don't think I can credit slightly smaller chest protectors with the lack of shutouts so far this year. In a month, maybe. If there's no shutouts, or if there's limited shutouts in the first month, then maybe we can start talking about that kind of stuff. But right now, it's been we've had 4 days worth of games. I'm not too convinced.
From our friend Gretchen, are there any true elite goalies left? Yes.
I think you have one in mind. Yeah, I think so too.
Really?
Yeah. You might have a certain king in mind. Yeah, I think there is. And like I said, I think goaltending has gotten better, and you've certainly seen it. I think if you look at it like the top, 50 save percentages, career save percentages of all time, like 40 of them are active goalies. So that just kind of gives you, goaltending has changed, and maybe since maybe all of the goalies are better, so elite is less of a relative term now. I mean, there's less Dominic Hasek's and Patrick Waugh's and Marty Berdure's right now, and there's more of there's 10 to 20 really good goalies at a time. Maybe that's the situation, but I think there's some really good goaltending out there still, for sure.
I think you probably say like the top 4 or 5 goaltenders in the league probably qualify in the elite category.
Yeah.
Holtby, Carey Price.
Sure.
Carey Price will single-handedly have the Montreal Canadiens in a playoff
more likely.
position.
Yeah.
Like, that's how good he is. Who am I missing? I don't know if, as much as I love Hank, I don't know if he's in the elite category or just with age.
Yeah.
Then again, he could come out and shut out 3 games in a row this week and shut me up. Great.
And I actually did a little bit of homework on that. I don't know if this means these goalies are elite, but there was 9 goalies last season who played at least 40 games and had a save percentage over 920. There were several with 920, so these are the guys that are 921 and up. And there's some names that'll surprise you. Everyone knows Brian Elliott had a fantastic year last year. He led the league in save percentage. Great year. You certainly don't expect that kind of numbers out of him in Calgary, even if it's a rate stat. Ben Bishop, clearly, a guy that played really well. Another American goalie that didn't play ahead of Jonathan Quick, Corey Schneider. Yeah. So those were 2 guys that were over 720 or over 920. Jonathan Quick was not. I'm still going to be harping on that for a while. Corey Crawford actually was over 920. You don't really think of him as elite goaltender, but
I don't.
He put up the numbers. James Reimer had a great year last year, was over 920. Holtby, as you mentioned, and then a couple of surprising names. Thomas Greiss of the Islanders had a great season last year and certainly played him himself.
He carried the Islanders.
But then you see, Halak play outstanding for Team Europe.
Yeah.
And so they've really kind of got a good problem there in New York. Marc-Andre Fleury was amongst the top 10 in save percentage last season, which, again, a guy that's probably more inconsistent than anything, but when he's on, he's on. And that's something you have to give Marc-Andre Fleury is that guy can get hot. And when he can get hot, he plays very well.
And then the elite goalie Twitter, you have Roberto Luongo.
Yes. And then finally, the last guy was Peter Mrazek, who was over 920 last year. And I'm a Mrazek believer. I'm not a Jimmy Howard hater, but I think Mrazek should be their starting goalie, going forward. And that's how I drafted my fantasy team, at least. So, those. I think there is elite goaltending out there. I think goaltending is better than it has been before, and maybe there's less separation between the top 5 guys and the next 10. And maybe that's kind of what Gretchen is getting to. But it was a follow-up to there not being any shutouts, and I don't know that it has anything to do with it. I don't know.
And then our last question from Gretchen, going back to the salad discussion. Are salads a meal? Yes. Yes.
It depends. Well, are we talking salads as in like a lettuce salad? What has to be in it to constitute it being a meal?
I don't know. Lettuce.
Giles, you're pretty willy-nilly with the definition of a meal, I gotta say. This is getting a little over the shark here. Is there had to be meat involved for it to be an entree? I think it does. I don't think... I think you gotta have some kind of meat in there, otherwise it's just a salad.
To hell with it. Let's just argue about soup again.
We
coleslaw.
still haven't actually had our bitter back alley fist fight about coleslaw yet. So maybe stay tuned for that one.
Yeah, I don't think I want to get into that right now with Tom Reids hovering around the table.
Yeah, he might take offense.
Yeah, actually, we should get his take on coleslaw.
And soup
Tom,
and salad.
do you like coleslaw?
Are you a fan?
No. So that was all the questions. Thank you to everyone for asking.
Thank you to Dan for not noticing that we asked for questions and not asking.
Dan had a busy morning. So
that's right. That's right. Okay.
So yeah,
all the better.
I saw him for a good 5 seconds. Yeah. So and then I guess we can go on to our infamous topic: jerseys.
Cool. Let's do it.
This? It's not Team USA. Well, yes, it is. They've got on new uniforms. They're wearing the logo of the Duck. I've never seen this before.
I'm wearing my Minnesota Miracle Man shirt on under this jersey.
Nice.
By the way,
I'm wearing a wrestling T-shirt, so I don't even fit in here.
Shaking my head.
Yeah,
show up to a Jersey Expo with no jersey.
I know. I worked this morning. I didn't obviously go home in between, so whoops, my bad.
So this week the team of the week is the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes, as we addressed a couple of weeks ago.
And what are your thoughts?
Well, as far as from a redesign standpoint, if we're going to redesign these jerseys for the new Adidas system, I guess you could call it, they're not going to. Obviously, they just redesigned their jerseys this season. We covered that. Stupid, sexy Flanders. The Maple Leaf that somehow has buttocks. But if left up to me, I would return to the classic Maple Leaf, not just the classic one they had last season, the classic one when they first ever came out with the, I would say, hard-edged Maple Leaf. They modeled it exactly after the Canadian flag. And then after a couple of years, they streamlined it a little bit, and that was the jersey that we knew and loved for about 40 years. I would go to that Canadian flag outline. That was the Maple Leaf that I guess you could say I liked the best. I'm not crazy about the lifelike ones. I didn't mind the redesign as we covered, but I like the Canadian flag one. I like the juxtaposition, I guess you could say, of that on the white and blue jerseys for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Still representing most of the middle of Canada, much to the chagrin of most of the middle of Canada. So I'm going to go with that. I think it's 1967 to 1970. If you look at our second favorite website, NHLuniforms.com, those
Man,
were
we
the
giving
jerseys.
a lot of free promotion away today.
Yeah, I know. We just give away the farm around here. As Tom Reids sits at a table next to us. I think those are the jerseys that I would model most after. They had simple striping. They had that beautiful Canadian maple leaf with the Toronto Maple Leafs inside. So that's what I'm going to roll with. I'm going to roll with that. I think, as we've talked about numerous times, we're big fans of most of the jerseys they've trotted out. So I really don't think that this team can go wrong, even despite having a butt on the jersey.
Yeah. And that is a good look.
Yeah.
Kind of looking at it. I like their look now. I wasn't really in the category of them needing a change from last year,
I
but
wasn't
they
either.
probably wanted to do something for their 100th season and
Sure.
The new era of Maple Leafs hockey with Austin Matthews and all that. All that
Brendan
fun
Shanahan
junk,
and Mike Babcock and Lula Amarillo.
But yeah, that's just another, as you said, just a team with a good history of jerseys. And
Yes.
as I look up, and there's a thing of the Toronto Maple Leafs jersey
yes.
history here at Tom Reids.
And then, of course, 3 stripes up the side because, of course, that's what you're going to do is put 3 stripes up the side of everything. So,
Adidas.
I should just make a drop of 3 stripes up the side because that's going to be in every segment this year. Spoiler alert.
Let's just put that on everything. 3 stripes.
Oh, God.
I mean, I'll give it this. It'll look better than the Reebok Edge.
Yeah, I hope they would have learned from their mistakes, but who knows? Who knows?
Whatever. Yeah. So, I don't know. That can probably wrap it up. Kind of a shorter podcast.
Well, they only played 2 games. That's our excuse.
Yeah.
Then we have jerseys to look at.
Yeah. Spoiler, I did go through there and look at them already.
No, I haven't. Any highlights?
I think my favorite thing I saw in there was a Luke Robitaille Kings jersey from the Kings' 25th season, because it had the 25th season patch, which I
suppose
you hardly see that.
That was
which is
the
pretty nice.
black and silver era,
Yep.
right? Yeah, okay.
Which, by the way, the Kings had their home opener the other night, and they trotted out all their retired number players onto the ice.
Oh, nice.
In uniform.
Nice.
And Gretzky came out in the silver and black.
Nice.
And that
Beautiful.
was great. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Did anyone wear the Burger King jersey?
No.
That would have been so awesome.
I did after the ceremony, I did ask Dan if he could spot me $300 to buy one. He passed on the opportunity.
Oh, what a poor sport. We'll get to the Kings, but man, those black and silvers from the Gretzky era, those were just fantastic. They were beautiful. It'd be interesting to see, if any teams maybe take a leap to the past like that with this redesign. I don't know. I doubt it, but maybe 1 or 2 teams will, and
I heard
it'll make us very happy.
There was some stupid NHL rule where you can only have 3 or 4 jerseys during a season to wear.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too.
It feels like that's just shooting yourself in the foot, because the LA Kings could trot out their form blue and gold jerseys, and then they could put on the old silver and black jerseys once this year. It's their 50th season.
Yeah.
You get 5 teams in this league celebrating 50 seasons, and you could do so much more for jersey sales if they could be allowed to put on some old uniforms like that. If the Kings came out and they had, hey, you can buy old silver and black jerseys because we're going to wear them, I would buy one.
Right.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Nope. In a Gary Bettman run league, another dumb thing.
And then it wouldn't necessitate the hideous Philadelphia Flyers 50th anniversary jersey. where they have all gold letters for some reason.
Yeah, they picked up the gold that the Penguins dumped from last year.
They went dumpster diving in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, hey, it's Vegas gold. That's not bad. That's so that in the letters.
That's good.
Yeah, we got 50th year coming up. Why not?
Yeah. Would be nice to celebrate another team's 50th season this year, but
yeah, I've given some thought to addressing that. I know some people brought it up.
Bank of North Stars jerseys here
right. Some people brought it up on Thursday night as that should have been the 50th anniversary for the North Stars. The only class of 67 team, well, one of two class of 67 teams not celebrating the birthday along with the defunct Oakland Seals. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will write something on that this week because it's really a shame. It's kind of cool to see those class of 67 teams celebrating this year, and it would have been cool to be a part of that. I know we didn't really have any kind of all-night ragers celebrating the Vikings or Twins 50th anniversary, but it's certainly not a bad thing when you have a team in a market for 50 years, and obviously we weren't able to make it there. So who knows? Maybe I'll see if I can dig up something. Maybe somebody else already has that planned on our site. We'll find out.
I haven't seen anything, but I'm not sure the Dallas Stars are doing anything to celebrate.
I don't think they are, and then they shouldn't.
Which is shocking considering the outrage when the North Stars jerseys came out last February.
When they were so upset that we used their quote-unquote players for our alumni game here, and it's like their players never stepped freaking foot in a Dallas hockey arena, so yeah, we could go on about that for hours if we really wanted to. But we won't.
No, we won't. So yeah, that'll do it for us. We're going to go back into the giant room full of porn.
Part 2.
You can find us writing at Wild Extra this week.
Sure.
You can find us on the Twitters, at Giles Farrell, at Ben Remington, at GATG Wild Podcast.
Yes.
I actually put I don't think I showed you this. I updated our iTunes description, which includes our Twitter handles now.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Exciting.
We'll get a nice uptick of followers.
Bring on the followers.
Please rate us on iTunes, by the way.
Yes.
We have we had a nice run here a few weeks ago with our promotion. That hopefully, if you listen to this frequently and on iTunes, give us a rating.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is, but I'll shame you if it's not good.
Well, and yeah, feedback is always good, and we've asked for it numerous times, and we want to,
we do want to make this a listenable podcast,
right? So please, any feedback, negative, mostly, probably the most important feedback to get would be the negative feedback. Positives, who doesn't like a good old fashioned, but we'll take anything we can get.
I mean, if you say quit talking about jerseys, you're probably not going to get that.
Don't waste your time.
Make your negative feedback,
don't
make it
ask
attainable.
Us, don't ask us to stop talking about food or jerseys or
this
hockey.
is a food podcast now.
Right? Yeah. This is just exclusively hockey jerseys and food. That's what we're moving to.
Yeah, that's our brand.
It's what the people want.
So we'll be back next week. The Wild play at 5:00 Sunday, so we'll probably record.
Oh yeah,
shortly thereafter.
Yeah, sure.
I like to record Sundays so it doesn't carry on to Monday.
Yeah.
So we will talk to you next week.
Later.
St. Paul, Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota.
We are ducks, and ducks fly together.